In life, not all relationships are meant to last, and sometimes, the people we hold closest to our hearts are the ones who hinder our growth. In this video, we'll explore the subtle yet powerful signs that God may be telling you to let go of toxic relationships that no longer serve your purpose. From constant resistance to one-sided connections and ongoing conflicts, we'll uncover the truth behind these emotional barriers. But don't worry, letting go is not about loss. It's about making room for new blessings, peace, and a brighter future. Stick with us to discover the wisdom in embracing God's protection and walking toward the life you're meant to live. Trust me, this might be the sign you've been waiting for. Before we start, I'd appreciate your support. If you liked the video, please subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated on future lessons from God. In the raw, unvarnished truth of our existence, we are confronted with a world where harm often wears the deceptive guise of friendship, and betrayal hides beneath the seemingly unwavering mask of loyalty. Yet, amidst this tangled web of deception, there is a force, a divine sentinel, that stands vigil over our lives, guarding us in ways so subtle, yet so powerful, that we rarely comprehend its intricate workings. This protective force is not loud or flashy. It is a quiet, relentless guardian that labors behind the scenes, ensuring our safety and guiding us through the stormy chaos of life. When you are chosen, when your soul holds a destiny that transcends the mundane, this protection is not merely a gift. It becomes a necessity, an invisible shield, safeguarding you from unseen dangers that lurk in the shadows. Consider, for a moment, the times when you felt that uncomfortable, inexplicable unease in someone's presence. It's as though your very spirit recoils in their shadow, urging you to retreat, even when logic and reason do not explain, or the gut-wrenching experience of a relationship, one that once seemed unbreakable, suddenly unraveling before your eyes, leaving you bewildered, hollow, and broken. These are not mere coincidences, fleeting moments of bad luck. No, these are the whispers of divine intervention, subtle, sacred warnings etched deep into the fabric of your existence, designed to steer you away from harm, even when you cannot see it yourself. But you may ask, why does this protection often come wrapped in the anguish of loss? Why does the hand of God sometimes feel like the sharp, unforgiving edge of a blade, cutting away the things and people we hold dear? The answer lies in our limited human perspective. We, with our finite vision, often fail to recognize the danger that lurks in the seemingly familiar. We cling to the comfort of the known, even when it stifles us, because the unknown is far more terrifying than the slow poison of familiarity. It is in these moments, when we are faced with the brutal necessity of letting go, that God's protection is most palpable, though it may not always feel gentle. God's protection is not always a warm embrace. Sometimes, it is a sharp, startling interruption. It can feel harsh, painful, even cruel. Yet, it is always purposeful, for it is in the removal of the unnecessary that God reveals the beauty and brilliance of our true selves. Like a master sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble, God tirelessly works to remove the excess, to carve out the masterpiece within. The question is, can you trust the process? Can you surrender your fear, your pride, and your attachment to what is familiar? Can you trust that every rejection, every betrayal, every painful break in a relationship is not a punishment, but a divine act of mercy, shielding you from harm that is still beyond your sight? Take a moment to reflect on the relationships in your life. Are there people whose presence leaves you drained, empty, and anxious? People whose energy robs you of your peace, rather than uplifting your spirit? Have you noticed persistent patterns of conflict, deceit, or manipulation that refuse to be resolved, no matter how hard you try? And most crucially, can you discern the moments when something far beyond your understanding has stepped in to remove these toxic influences from your life, perhaps even before you had the strength or clarity to do so yourself? This is the essence of divine protection. A love so profound, so unshakable, that it operates even when you cannot see or understand its purpose. It is the invisible shield that guards your heart, your soul, and your very destiny against the corrosive forces that seek to derail your path. But this protection, though freely given, requires something from you. Faith. Faith that, even when the road is long and fraught with loss and heartache, you are being gently, persistently guided. Faith that you are being prepared for something far greater, something beyond your wildest imaginings. So, as we embark on the sacred journey together, let us open our hearts and minds to the unmistakable signs that God is actively, lovingly, and relentlessly protecting you from the harm of toxic people and circumstances. These signs are not random, not trivial. They are deliberate, purposeful messages woven intricately into the very tapestry of your life. Recognizing them requires stillness, patience, and a deep willingness to surrender to the divine process, to let go of what no longer serves you, even when it feels like you are losing everything. Each sign is a clue, a revelation, a sacred invitation to trust in the mysterious, all-knowing love of the Creator. Pay close attention, for these signs are not merely a reflection of God's love. They are a call to rise above the illusions and deceptions of this world. They are beckoning you to surrender your grip on the false, to trust in the unseen, and to rise into the fullness of your purpose. Let us begin. 1. They leave without explanation. Have you ever found yourself standing in the wake of someone's sudden departure from your life, their absence filling you with an emptiness so deep that it feels as though part of you has been ripped away? The sting of their departure is sharp, raw, and unrelenting, and the lack of explanation only deepens the wound, leaving you to replay every moment, every interaction, in a desperate search for meaning. You wonder what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and if there was something you missed. And yet, as painful as this is, as much as it feels like a rejection, it may not be a rejection at all. It could very well be a divine intervention, an act of God's love and protection, keeping you from harm that you cannot yet perceive. In Proverbs 3 verses 5-6, we are reminded to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not on our understanding. This verse holds the key to unraveling the mystery of those unexplained departures. When someone leaves your life without reason, it may be because God sees something you cannot, a future path you are not yet able to see, the hidden intentions of others that lie deep beneath the surface, or the unforeseen consequences of their continued presence in your life. Trust that, even when it hurts, even when the reason is veiled from your sight, God is guiding you toward a future that is far brighter than you can imagine. Their departure, though it stings with the sharp edge of unexpected loss, is not an act of cruelty, but rather a profound expression of divine mercy. Imagine, if you will, walking a path with a clear, burning purpose. You stride forward with confidence, your eyes fixed on your goals, your heart full of hope. Along this journey, you encounter someone who appears to be a friend, a fellow traveler who shares in your dreams and ambitions. You trust them, open your heart to them, and build a bond, believing that together you are stronger. Yet, beneath the surface, unknown to you, lies a hidden venom. Seeds of jealousy, deceit, or malice that have taken root in their heart. Though they conceal their true intentions with a veneer of kindness, God sees what you cannot. He knows the truth that they hide so well, the darkness they harbor, and how their presence, their influence, could subtly lead you astray, veering you off the path He has so carefully laid before you. God, in His boundless love for you, steps in when you least expect it. He hears the whispers behind closed doors, sees the betrayal that festers in the unseen corners of their heart, and understands how their continued presence in your life would slowly erode your purpose, your peace, and your progress. And so, with a merciful hand, He removes them from your life, sometimes abruptly, even painfully, because He knows that leaving them there would only cause you more suffering in the long run. It may feel like the rug has been pulled from under you as if you have been abandoned, but this is not abandonment. This is divine intervention, a guardian's intervention to shield you from harm you cannot yet perceive. It's only natural to feel hurt, confused, and even betrayed when this happens. After all, we are creatures wired for connection, and the bonds we form are a vital part of our human experience. Losing someone, particularly without understanding why, can feel like a personal failure, like you've been rejected or discarded. But let us turn to the wisdom of Isaiah 55 verses 8-9, where we are reminded, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." What feels like a painful loss, a shattered connection, is often a divine realignment within God's greater plan for your life. Trust that their absence is not a void, but rather an opening, a space for the people and opportunities God has carefully chosen for you. His ways are not always our ways, and His understanding far exceeds our limited human perspective. In these moments of painful separation, resist the impulse to chase after those who leave without explanation. Remember the story of Lot's wife in Genesis 19 verse 26, who, unable to let go of what was being left behind, looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. Clinging to what God has removed can be like anchor chains, weighing down your progress and paralyzing your journey forward. Instead, let go. Release what has been taken from you, knowing that God, in His infinite wisdom, has a better plan in motion. Pray for clarity, for the strength to move forward with unwavering faith. Reflect on the peace that often follows these painful departures, even if it seems delayed. This peace is not an accident. It is God's confirmation, a sacred sign that their removal was not a loss, but a blessing, a protective measure to shield you from harm you could not have seen coming. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may never receive the answers you so desperately seek. You may never understand why things unfolded the way they did, why someone you trusted walked away without a word, leaving you in the chaos of your own emotions. But here's the truth. You don't need those answers. What you need is trust. Trust that the God who orchestrates the very universe, the God who sees the beginning from the end, is weaving your life with precision and care. His hands, though unseen, are always at work. Let their departure not be seen as a rejection of you, but as a signal of divine protection, a sacred message that God is guiding you away from danger, toward a future far greater than you can imagine. Trust in His plan, and rest in the peace that follows. At some point, you've likely experienced the shock of someone's betrayal or sudden change in behavior. This person could have been a close friend, a partner, or even a family member, and their actions left you feeling blindsided. It's as though a mask they've worn for so long suddenly slips, revealing a side of them you never imagined existed. While painful, this moment is not a tragedy. It's a revelation. It's God pulling back the curtain to show you the truth that was hidden from your eyes. In Jeremiah 17 verse 9, it's written, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? Only God knows the true nature and intentions of others." While we see outward smiles, kind words, and polished appearances, God sees what is hidden deep within, the jealousy, selfishness, and harm waiting to unfold. He allows their true nature to surface, not to harm you, but to protect you from what their hidden motives could do to your peace and purpose. Think of Judas Iscariot. 4 years, he walked alongside Jesus, performed miracles, and appeared loyal, yet his betrayal became a pivotal moment in God's plan. Jesus knew Judas's heart from the beginning, but allowed him to remain until the appointed time when his true nature would be revealed. Similarly, God allows people to remain in your life for a season. But when their presence threatens your peace or spiritual growth, He exposes their true intentions. This revelation might come in a harsh word, an unguarded moment, or a sudden betrayal. At first, it may feel like a wound, but it's a gift in disguise. God is showing you the truth so that you can make the necessary decisions to protect yourself and move forward. It's His way of removing the blinders, so you're no longer deceived by a false front. However, accepting this revelation isn't always easy. Our minds often resist what our spirits know to be true. We might make excuses for their behavior or justify their actions. But Psalm 32 verse 8 assures us, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you." God doesn't reveal the truth to us so we ignore it. He does it to guide us, to protect us. When someone's true nature is revealed, don't see it as a failure on your part for not noticing sooner. See it as God's mercy, sparing you from deeper harm. It is better to lose someone whose intentions are harmful than to hold on and allow their presence to damage your life further. Trust the process, and thank God for loving you enough to expose the truth, even when it's painful. Have you ever felt a subtle discomfort in the presence of certain people? It's not always something they say or do. Sometimes, it's a quiet, inner stirring, a knowing sense that something about them doesn't sit right with your spirit. This unease is not random. It's often a divine nudge. God communicates through those whispers of intuition, alerting you to dangers that your eyes cannot see. In 1 John 4 verse 1, we are urged to test the spirits to see whether they are from God. Not every connection is meant for your good, no matter how friendly or well-meaning someone may seem. Harmful individuals often hide their intentions behind charm, kindness, or even religious language. But your spirit, connected to God, can discern what your mind cannot. That inner discomfort is often His way of steering you away from something or someone that could cause harm. Think back to times when you ignored that unease. For many, ignoring that feeling has led to heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment. It's because that unease is not imagined, it's divine wisdom. The Holy Spirit, as promised in John 14 verse 26, is your helper and guide, revealing truth and warning you of danger. Sometimes, the resistance to your growth becomes evident over time. You may notice that some people belittle your dreams, question your decisions, or suggest that your goals are too ambitious. Their resistance can come in subtle remarks or even outright discouragement. Either way, it's a sign that their presence is misaligned with your purpose. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Those who resist your growth are not part of God's plan. They may hinder the blessings He intends to pour into your life. Their resistance signals that their chapter in your story is over. When you encounter such resistance, don't let it derail your journey. Instead, use it as an opportunity to reevaluate the relationship, pray for wisdom, and ask God if this person is meant to walk alongside you or if it's time to let them go. Trust that God's plans for you are greater than any resistance and that He will provide the right people to support your growth and success. Lastly, consider how relationships that feel forced or one-sided often drain you. You give, but they take. You listen, but they dismiss. These imbalanced dynamics leave you questioning your worth and wondering why things never seem to balance out. A one-sided or forced relationship isn't just exhausting. It's a sign that God may be calling you to let go. Holding on to these relationships can prevent you from moving forward and receiving what God has in store for you. Trust that when He removes these relationships, it's not a loss but a redirection to something better. In Matthew 11 verse 28, Jesus extends a heartfelt invitation to each of us. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is not just an invitation. It is a lifeline, a gentle call to come to Him when life overwhelms us with its burdens. Relationships, while requiring effort, should not drain the very essence of who we are. They should be a source of joy, mutual love, and support. Yet, when a connection becomes so one-sided that it siphons away your emotional, mental, and spiritual energy, it transforms from a blessing into a heavy burden. It is no longer nourishing, it is depleting. And in His boundless wisdom, God does not want us shackled to something or someone that diminishes us instead of replenishing our souls. It's so easy to hold on tightly to these draining relationships, clinging to them out of fear. Fear of solitude, fear of failure, or even fear of losing someone we've invested so much in. But in doing so, we often overlook the profound truth that God, in His infinite understanding, sees what we cannot. He perceives the hidden cost of staying in these unbalanced, draining relationships. While we are consumed with the urge to hold on, He is quietly preparing us for something or someone greater, something that will uplift us rather than tear us down. Take, for instance, the powerful story of Samson and Delilah in Judges 16. Samson, a man divinely chosen by God and blessed with incredible strength to fulfill a great purpose, found himself ensnared in a toxic relationship with Delilah. Rather than being a source of support and love, Delilah's presence in his life became a tool of manipulation, deception, and ultimate betrayal. Her love was not mutual. It was a manipulation of his emotions, a calculated attempt to strip him of everything that made him strong. This destructive relationship cost Samson dearly, and ultimately, it served as a stark reminder. When a relationship shifts from one of growth and mutual benefit to one of harm and depletion, it is often God's subtle signal to let go. One-sided relationships frequently masquerade as love or friendship, but they thrive on imbalance. You might find yourself perpetually apologizing, compromising your values, or lowering your standards just to keep the peace. Yet, in these relationships, the other person offers little in return. This imbalance is not the divine design God has intended for us. In Amos 3 verse 3, we are asked, "Can two walk together unless they are agreed?" True relationships, those that honor God's plan, require mutual respect, effort, and alignment of purpose. They are not a constant battle for balance, but a harmonious connection built on shared understanding and love. Sometimes, the struggles we face in relationships arise because we are trying to force someone into a role they were never meant to occupy in our lives. Not every person you meet is destined to walk with you through every season. Some are there to teach you valuable lessons, help you grow, or guide you through difficult moments, but not every connection is meant to last forever. Forcing a relationship out of fear, attachment, or loneliness goes against God's design. He calls us to walk in freedom, not in bondage to unfulfilling connections. If you find yourself caught in a one-sided or forced relationship, it is time to pause and seek God's guidance. Pray fervently for clarity and the courage to release what no longer serves your purpose. Trust in His promise from Psalm 84 verse 11. The Lord will withhold no good thing from those who walk uprightly. Letting go of a draining relationship is not a loss. It is making room for the new and better blessings God has prepared for you. Blessings that will nourish your soul and help you grow. Often, in these relationships, we encounter persistent conflicts and barriers. Have you ever noticed how certain connections seem to be perpetually marked by turmoil and misunderstandings? No matter how hard you try to make things work, the arguments never cease, the miscommunications are never resolved, and external circumstances seem to conspire against the relationship. While occasional disagreements are normal, a relationship filled with repeated conflict and unresolved issues is a glaring red flag that it may not be what God intended for you. These ongoing struggles are not mere coincidences. They may be God's way of protecting you from a path that is not aligned with His purpose for your life. In 1 Corinthians 14 verse 33, we are reminded that God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. When a relationship is engulfed in chaos, it is worth asking whether it is truly aligned with God's will for your life. Harmful people often bring disorder, disrupting your peace and distracting you from the purpose God has set before you. The constant conflict and barriers are not just obstacles. They may be divine redirection, signs that God is leading you away from something that could ultimately harm you. Consider the Israelites wandering in the wilderness. The barriers they faced were not a punishment, but a guide. God was steering them toward the promised land. Similarly, the conflicts and barriers in a relationship may be God's way of guiding you away from something, or someone, that is not meant to be part of your journey. These obstacles can manifest in various ways. Consistent miscommunication, clashing values, or external factors that seem to prevent the relationship from progressing. Our natural inclination is to resist these signs, pushing harder, compromising our peace, and sacrificing our well-being in an attempt to make things work. But Romans 8 verse 28 reminds us that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. What may feel like resistance or frustration is often divine redirection. Sometimes, these barriers are God's protection, sparing you from harm or preparing you for something far better. What feels like an obstacle may be an opportunity for growth and redirection toward a more fulfilling path. It is important to recognize the spiritual toll that constant conflict takes on your soul. Relationships should uplift, inspire, and empower you, not drain your energy or cause you to question your worth. Harmful people thrive in chaos, creating turmoil to maintain control or to deflect attention from their flaws. By remaining in such relationships, you may be delaying the blessings God has waiting for you. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take a moment to reflect. Are the conflicts leading to growth, or are they breaking me down? Are the barriers helping me to reevaluate, or are they making me feel trapped and defeated? If the answer points to harm rather than healing, it may be time to surrender that relationship to God. Philippians 4 verse 7 offers the comforting promise. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Letting go of the chaos is the key to finding peace, God's peace. When conflicts and barriers arise, it is not to hurt you, but to protect you from harm and to guide you toward the path that He has designed for you. Finally, consider the quiet peace that comes after someone exits your life. Initially, the loss can feel overwhelming. Grief, confusion, anger, and regret may flood your heart. You may find yourself questioning why they left, replaying memories, and wishing things could have been different. Yet, as time passes, something beautiful happens. What once felt like a painful void begins to be filled with an unexpected sense of calm. The turmoil slowly dissipates, and a deep, abiding peace settles in where the chaos once reigned. It is in this space of peace that you begin to understand. Sometimes, letting go is not about losing. It's about making room for the restoration, healing, and blessings that God has in store for you. This newfound peace also allows you to reconnect with your true self and with God. Without the distractions and the emotional weight of a toxic relationship, you can focus on your personal growth, your relationship with God, and the things that truly matter in life. It's a moment of healing, a divine reset, where God can begin to nurture and guide you into a new season of blessing and fulfillment. God's love is never limited by human relationships. He has greater plans for you, plans that often require space for new connections and opportunities to blossom. In Jeremiah 29 verse 11, he promises, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Sometimes, the painful process of letting go is a part of His good plan to lead you into something better. When someone departs, either voluntarily or due to circumstances, it's not a setback, it's part of God's plan for your life. Letting go opens the door for new opportunities, healthier relationships, and deeper spiritual growth. You might feel the grief of the loss initially, but God will comfort you, heal your wounds, and bring about a fresh sense of joy and peace. This peace surpasses understanding because it's a peace that comes from knowing that God's plan for you is greater than any human connection. If you find yourself grieving the departure of someone who no longer serves a positive role in your life, trust in the fact that God is making room for something better. He will guide you, protect you, and lead you toward relationships and opportunities that will nurture you rather than drain you. Take comfort in the promise of Psalm 34 verse 18. "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." You are never alone in your pain. God is with you, working in your heart and leading you toward peace. As you walk in this new season, remember that God never takes away without replacing you. His removal of harmful relationships is His protection and provision. Trust that He will bring you everything you need, and allow His peace to fill the spaces where negativity once resided. Just as the storm ceased when Jonah was cast out of the ship, the chaos will subside, and you will find yourself on a path of peace, healing, and divine purpose. As we wrap up today's discussion, I hope you've gained a deeper understanding of how letting go of one-sided and toxic relationships can open the door to peace, growth, and God's divine plan for your life. We've explored how God sees what we cannot, how He removes people from our lives to protect us, and how His peace fills the void when harmful relationships end. Remember, peace isn't just the absence of conflict, but the presence of God's guidance and purpose. So, what have you learned today? What's one thing you'll take away from this message and start applying it in your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.